Hello everybody and welcome back. So today I want to quickly take a look at more collisions with pops. Now you may remember at the end of the last lesson we spoke about how we could maybe add multiple pieces of geometry to colliding. So if you remember at the last lesson, let me just zoom back into this. We just had this one collision part which was bouncing, well not bouncing but sliding down this piece of geometry, and then it hits on the floor and it just sails off into the never never. Right, of course, brilliant animation. So let's move on from that. So today I want to look at, could I create more than one piece of geometry, maybe 2 or 3 pieces of geometry that will help to bounce all of these particles off. Let's look at how to do that. The last lesson I gave a brief description, but I'm going to show you how to do that today. So let's take a quick look. So first of all, I need to create my geometry. Now we already have here this box, remember, which is now moved to here. And we've got this here. What I want to do, I think, let's see, I think I'll make this a bit higher so that we can stick more stuff in here. So let's go maybe 6 meters. Okay, yeah, that might do. And then we'll go into here, and I want to move this up, I think. Yeah, all right. Oops. Let's get this right. Okay, let's move that maybe to there, and then I want to maybe make that a little bit less. Alright, so it's less steep. Okay, I'm doing my fussing thing again, aren't I? Alright, so next one, let's create another box, should we? Yeah, in fact, we don't need to create another box to duplicate this. I can just create another transform, and then with this transform, let me take a look. I can let's move this maybe here. I need to see where this one is. Alright, maybe down a little bit here, and yeah, and maybe I'll make that one slightly steeper just for the sake of it. Alright, I have no idea what I'm doing, do I? Okay, and let's have another one. What should we have this time? Let me go into geometry. If you go in here, you can see what all your primitives are that you can select. So let's go to geometry, hit on primitive, and here you'll see a bunch of different shapes that you can use as a starting point. I think I will go into platonic solids here. And okay, I can see that I've got this kind of pyramid thing here. There's a cube, there's a whatever that is, octahedron, whatever that is. Okay, in fact maybe I'll use the dodecahedron. Brilliant. I really should learn my geometry, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's move this one anyway. I like this one, and let's put that maybe here. All right, that was that. Maybe there will be better, because it's got to shoot off here, isn't it? So let's try that. Okay, so now I've got my 3 pieces. I'm going to need to now merge them all together. So let's quickly do that. Okay, come on, merge. Yeah, all right, and we'll go 1, 2, 3. So now I can see I've got all of my geometry, and I'm going to put all this into this null. Remember how we had this in here? We had it all connected, the static object to the null. So let's do that. So now I can see that I've got my pieces of geometry, all 3 of them, because of this null, which is connecting everything, this piece here. Yeah. Okay, so now I've got all 3. Now let's see how this goes. That didn't go as hoped. Okay, so it's gone right through there. And yeah. Okay, to be honest, I've had better simulations. Alright, so let's try and figure out what's going on. There's clearly a problem with the collisions here. It's not colliding properly. It's doing a little bit of thing there. Looks like I'm going to the toilet. All right, let's take a look at what we can do here. I would suspect the problem is in here in my static object, so let's have a look. And I want to go here, maybe into collisions. Okay, now I've got a few options here. I've got the RBD solver, and I've also got the bullet data solver. I'm going to go with this one, with the rigid bodies one. And let's have a look. I've got a collision guide. Let me just see what this one does. No, that's definitely not what I want. Okay, so I'm going to stay with this one, and that doesn't do much. Okay, what about the surface? I think that's what I want. You know, that looks like the correct collisions that I would be hoping for. So here I've gone into this rigid body solver, and then I've gone into surface, and then I've got my collision detection. Let's see how this goes now. Still goes through, you see, because my collision detection also has to be set to surface collisions. So let me do that, and there we go. Oh, happy days. There we go. All right. Now you will find that it will go a little bit slower when it's trying to calculate if I have this show collision radius turned on. Let's turn that off. It should go a little bit quicker now. I think so anyway. To check the speed of this, what you can also do is, if you hit the D key and go into your display options, you can hit this one here, draw time, frames per second. Click that and you'll see this little marker come up here, this piece of information, and then I can go back and then I can see that it's running at 24 frames a second. Okay, so it looks good. But look at what I've got here. I've got this strange kind of stepping thing. It doesn't look great, does it? No, not good at all. It kind of reminds me of the problem that we looked at in a previous lesson. Remember when it was just all going down and we were getting these kind of artifacts, these balls that were just of particles? And I don't know if you remember how we solved that. But I can, and I'll remember again. So remember we had this variance, and this variance would help to mix all that up a little bit, right? Now we changed that to 1, and then of course this is without the collisions. This was when it was just going straight down, and then we got this kind of mixed line. You can go back to a previous lesson to see that one. Now I would have thought it would do it here. Maybe what I need to do is increase the variance again. Let's increase it to 3 and see what we get. Okay, we're getting this popping up, of course. But anyway, it didn't solve the step problem. It's still there. So, how to solve that? Well, fortunately, there is another option for us. And that option will involve me going all the way back here into my PopNet, which is in my SOP level. All right, and then go to simulation, and I have something here called substeps. Now, how do substeps work? Okay, well, I can increase these substeps. So let's say increase it to 2. And what that will mean is that at the moment, my simulation is processing per frame. So every frame it's updated. But if I put 2 substeps, it means it's going to update twice per frame. So basically every half frame. And what this will hopefully do is help to remove at least some of that stepping problem. Let's see what we get. It might help if I select the right bit. Okay, let's try that. Alright, and now I can still see there's some stepping going on in there. Let's go back again. Let's try 3 substeps. Now this is 3 calculations per frame. Let's have a look how we get here. Okay, when you're ready. Thank you. Thank you. Alright. And yeah, that's starting to look quite a lot better now. Now, these calculations can go quite high, so I can go up to say 6. But you're going to start to notice something happen here. Alright, that looks a lot better. So now I'm making 6 calculations per frame. But look what happens each time I try to increase the substeps. So let's go here, 1, right? And I want you to look at this frames per second here. So let's start that. And I'm running at 24 frames a second. Pretty much, right? It's going down a little bit, but you get the idea. fairly fast. Now if I go to 2 subsets, now it seems to be going slightly slower. Let me go up to 6, which we had before. Okay, and now we're getting pretty slow. We're down to 7, 8 frames a second. Why? Because now it's having to calculate so much more information and the simulation is going to slow down. There's the issue. So while the sub-steps help to fix this problem, it's going to be expensive in terms of calculation time, which isn't always the best. Oh wow, look how slow that's getting now. But it will all depend on the speed of your computer, of course. Now I'm using a very old Mac here. It's a Mac Pro 2013. So I'm looking at a machine which is, what, 12 years old now. Pretty old. And so in terms of processing power, this is really quite slow. I suspect that all of you here will probably have a faster machine than this. So you're probably going to get better speeds than I have. So yeah, I really should upgrade my hardware at some point. Alright, so I think that will do for now. And I may look at collisions again in the next lesson. I've got another idea for that. But for now, anyway, you can see that you can add multiple objects. In fact, you have no limit to how many objects you want to add in your particle simulations. Okay, I hope that was useful, and you guys have a great day.